Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your daily dose of zombies news from the game and its community here on COD Zombies HQ. Thank you so much for tuning in today, where we've got an absolute mountain of stuff to go over, from ending cutscene discussion, side Easter egg stuff, more gameplay changes, and some very interesting clips that are only possible as a result of this update that I think you are going to want to see. So without further ado, let's kick things right off with our first story of the day. Now that the new perk PhD slider has been added into the game, players are starting to explore some of its more interesting functionality, where because of the severely increased slide speed and slide distance, players are noticing you can do some very interesting things with it. First of all, here on its debut map of Forsaken, Reddit user FTPuppyFT demonstrates something that I ended up trying out in my game too. They're using PhD slider on the walls in the amplifier room. Because the walls are actually curved, you can basically just skateboard up them, use the walls like a half pipe, and when you fall down to the ground, you actually do damage to zombies to make this a semi-viable strategy that is just extremely fun to do, that I guarantee if you show it off to your friends, they'll be like, how the heck did you do that? But sticking on PhD Flopper and how the heck did you do that moments, players are already taking the perk from the Wonder Fizz machine and going back to old maps to discover some very interesting new spots you can get to using the PhD slider's acceleration, where Redditor International Weeb999 found out that by using the slide in a specific spot just next to the teleporter at spawn, you can use the extreme acceleration the game gives you at the start of your slide to actually fly essentially across the whole of the spawn courtyard area and ending up mantling on an invisible wall way high above the map. This spot actually doesn't count as out of bounds, so you won't be seeing your health ticked down, but maybe we can assume that zombies can use their ranged attacks to actually hurt you when you're in this spot. Treyarch has just had so many problems trying to get players to stay in bounds in this location, and evidently with the addition of PhD Flopper, they still aren't succeeding. I expect that players will find some more very interesting spots using this new perk in the coming days. Next up, it's time for some Easter egg discussion, where in Forsaken, the main Easter egg has just been solved. If you haven't seen the full cutscene, link is down in the description. This is definitely, without a doubt, the best cutscene we've ever gotten in Cold War Zombies specifically. It uses a classic Vera Lynn song, which is something I didn't expect, which was a nice surprise, fits the cutscene perfectly. At the end of this cutscene, it finally reveals who the director is and the consequences of all our actions here in Cold War, while finally setting up the first little bit of tidbit, the little bit of teaser we get for the next year of zombies within COD Vanguard, revealing that the location of this first map will, kind of like we expected, be likely set in the Pacific in an island just south off the coast of Japan, a setting and aesthetic that I personally am very much looking forward to. But as great as this ending cutscene was and the main Easter egg itself, now the focus of the zombies community can shift to more side Easter eggs that are included in the map. Now, some people have already discovered the obvious side Easter eggs, where you're able to travel to Nocturne Toten, and you're able to travel to two other specific locations, the two small mini games using the arcade machines on the map. Players already knew about that, but besides them, and this is interesting, no major side Easter eggs have actually been found on the map yet. But for the first time, Treyarch have actually confirmed that there is a bunch of side Easter eggs to find when they said this.
It was kind of a designer's dream to come into this place and come up with fun little side Easter eggs. So you're going to find a lot of those nestled within it.
So if you're just getting home, want to hop into some Forsaken, there is still a lot of mysteries in this map for you to find. If you do find anything, let Reddit know, let Twitter know, to try to get that information out as quickly as possible. Next up, some gameplay changes and possible bugs introduced as a result of this latest update, where if you hop into Forsaken and load up the crafting table, the keen-eyed among you will notice that there's actually something missing here in the support section. If you want, take a second to see if you can spot it yourself. But what's actually missing is the napalm strike support, which for whatever reason is now Gonzo Alonzo from the crafting table. I saw some people saying that, well, since Forsaken is largely set indoors, that they didn't want to add it into the map, but the chopper gunner's there and the artillery strike and cruise missile is there, so that argument doesn't really hold up. Odds are it's just a bug, and with the addition of the napalm strike, this menu will be nice and symmetrical with 6 on the top row and 6 on the bottom row. Next up, Treyarch has announced that they're changing the way some of the enemies behave here in the zombies mode, where Treyarch says that they specifically adjusted Plaguehound pounce behavior to make their attacks easier to telegraph and dodge. So now plaguey boys that spawn in across the zombies mode here in Cold War won't just like have Commando Pro and just lunge at you instantly. You'll be able to dodge them a little bit more easier. And speaking of other changes to the Plaguehounds, Treyarch tweeted out some of the lesser known updates that they made with this season, 2 of which we covered yesterday, the buff to the Reiki and the ability to pap the DIE Wonder Weapon, but they also say that in Onslaught, Plaguehounds are capped at 15 per surge, and the chance to spawn them has been lowered from 10% to 5%. So for everybody that enjoys playing Onslaught, which in 1 month's time will finally be available for everybody to play on Xbox and PC. Before it's been exclusive to PlayStation, that finally is going to change. That exclusivity is going bye-bye. So for PC and Xbox players, this is a good change when you can finally get your hands on that mode. But that's not all Treyarch changed when it comes to enemy types, where they say that they adjusted Tempest teleport behavior, so that now it teleports in bursts. After multiple teleports, it will be unable to teleport for a period of time. I think a very good change. Running around after Tempest as they just constantly teleport away from you can get pretty annoying, especially if it's in like a wide open map in Outbreak, but even in a round-based map, they could get pretty annoying, so it's nice that after they teleport a few times, they basically are on cooldown and will remain stationary for a little while. Next up, included with some of the new intel added into the game within Season 6, players are discovering some basically exact assets that we expect to be used heavily within the upcoming Vanguard Zombies mode, including this archaic goblet artifact found by this Reddit user, which many people are speculating to be basically the replacement for Perk cans within Vanguard Zombies, and I think they hit that bang on, as within the data mined information about the Vanguard Zombies mode, Nanakos found out that it's likely the perks in that game will have their name changed from perks to demonic fountains. That's what they're going to be called, demonic fountains. It doesn't really roll off the tongue as well as perks do, well, you gotta give it that. But they're changing the vibe for Vanguard Zombies, and we'll have to roll with the punches, I guess. But that does wrap up the news today, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you did enjoy it, consider leaving a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, because there's still a lot to find within this map. I know it can kind of get overwhelming sometimes with like a bunch of tutorials for random small Easter eggs that are going to be found. You gotta like look them up individually, so we'll do a roundup of everything that's been found tomorrow. Let me know your gut reaction, your initial thoughts after playing Forsaken down in the comments, and I'll see you with another Zombies news update tomorrow. Peace.